Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the GameCast NewsCast. I'm Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula. Joining me this week is Sarah, Orange Lightning.
Hello!
And, yes, we've got some lovely stories to go through this week. A couple of them are a little bit scandalous, really. But we'll get to that in a minute, but we'll start, as always, with Sarah. What have you been playing this week?
Overcooked 2! It's amazing! I love it. I love it so much. I've only played it for like 2 hours, but oh my god, it's so good. So good. So much more of the first one, but yes! Everything that was good about the first one is still here, and now there's additional things too. So it's good. It's really good. If you like the first one, and if you haven't played the first one, it doesn't matter. Go and get it. Get it now. It is fun. Yes.
So I'm assuming
you can
you're
look forward to the
recommending
review.
Yes, you're doing a review for it.
I am. I don't know when it will be out. Probably early next week. Gives me the weekend to work on it. But yes.
Good. I have the first one. I'm very much looking forward to getting the second one. What platform do you have it on?
PlayStation 4.
Oh. That's not the one I thought you'd have picked, actually.
It's because we had the first one on PlayStation 4.
Right, okay.
Hannah's comfortable with the PlayStation controller. So
Right.
We discussed the Switch, but she doesn't really like the Joy-Cons when you're playing as two people because they're very small.
They're tiny, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a PlayStation, but I've already touted it to my friends and was like, if anyone wants to get it on PC, I'm more than happy to get it later on PC so we can play online. Just because,
it's one of those rare games that's also the same price everywhere. Because on Switch things tend to be a little bit more expensive, but it's £20 everywhere.
There you go.
So yeah, it's on.
Buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it when I get paid in 6 days.
Woo! Yay!
I say that, but at the same time, I'm also gonna be away. But I might have my Switch with me. So, do I want to buy it on Switch, or do I want to wait until I get back and get it on PC? I don't know.
Depends.
Yeah.
If you're planning on playing it locally, because if you're local playing, then it's not so bad. But if you're wanting to do lots of online play, PC might be easier.
Yeah. Especially considering Nintendo's online charging is coming in next month.
Yeah.
They've actually started advertising that or saying that on the store now for the Switch. If you get a game that has an online element, you go onto the store page, it goes, be aware in a month you'll have to be paying our online service to play the online bit. But that's not on free-to-play games. So games like Fortnite and Paladins don't have that warning, which leads us to think that they're doing the Sony thing, where if it's a free-to-play game, you don't have to buy the online subscription.
It would make sense, because otherwise it would hurt the game, because if it's a game that's already free, and then you're basically saying, you're going to need to pay now.
You have to pay to play it anyway.
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
People will just stop playing the game and be like, fine, I won't play it anymore then.
Exactly. So, anyway, was there anything else that you played this week then?
I did start Battle Chef Brigade on Switch.
Right. I played a bit of that because they gave it away on Twitch Prime in Prime.
Yeah.
Months.
I think we discussed this last time.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see myself playing it for very long, to be perfectly honest.
I quite like it. I like the little designs and the whole kind of aesthetic is very nice, and I don't know, I quite like the whole idea and everything. It's quite unlike anything I've played before, so I was like, ooh, something different. I like it. Very nice.
Yes. Okay.
And I fell in love with Thorn because she's amazing.
Well, there we go then. So that's what you've been playing this week.
What have you been playing, Snowy?
Goodness me, someone asked me without having to be prompted. Oh, dearie dear. I'll do better than last week. If you listen to last week's newscast, I couldn't really remember. I didn't do very well at that.
It was a really good game then.
I just, my brain was all over the place. Anyway, this week, I have been playing a lot of Octopath Traveler. I'm now up to about 24 hours into it.
Oh, nice.
I have done... Have you played Octopath Traveler at all? Have you got it?
I have. I've started it, and I think it's amazing.
You are correct. Anyway, I have finished... Since the last newscast, I've finished Cyrus's second chapter, which was a bitch. And I finished... Oh, what's her face? Ophelia's second chapter, The Cleric.
Okay.
Little story about Cyrus's second chapter, though. I got to the start of his and got to the sort of dungeon where you go through to get to the final boss. And I was sort of, like, just over the level cap for it. But the things in there were still, like, cleaning the floor with me a little bit.
Oh.
And I was just like, okay, I'll just sort of power through the dungeon, get to the boss, and hopefully it'll be fine. This boss was just insane. It was killing me so hard. I did it about 3 times. I just got absolutely wrecked. And I was just like, okay, fine. I'm going to step away. I'm going to go out into the world. I'm going to grind myself up a few levels. Got myself up to about 5 levels before. Went to a few of the shrines throughout the world. So because each character has a class. But you can go to shrines, which then unlock a subclass, which you can...
Okay.
Which is one of the main classes, but then you can assign it as a subclass to any of the characters that doesn't already have that.
That's cool.
So, for instance, with Tressa, she's a merchant normally, but I also made her into a... Oh, what's the word for this one? I think it's cleric. No, it's not cleric, is it? It's scholar. That's the one. A scholar. So the same as Cyrus. So she now has like loads of elemental magic abilities as well now. So good synergy, because one of Tressa's like abilities that she can unlock is everything uses half SP.
Oh, so that's perfect then.
Exactly. So it's a really good sort of combination with that. So you can do that as you sort of progress. I had to look up where the shrines were though, because I couldn't. I was like, I really need to do that. And also, you get stat boosts when you add a second class to them.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, it's all very useful stuff. Anyway. So yes, Octopath Traveler is still very good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to hearing Mark's review actually, whenever that comes out. He said soon, but I mean, I'll give it to him that it's a big game, but we'll see.
He's reviewing like everything.
I know, he's doing so much at the moment. It's ridiculous.
He can't help himself. He's just like, I need to do this and this and this and this.
Oh, I'll do this one. Oh, I'll do this one. I think I accidentally talked myself into reviewing Dead Cells somehow.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. I've got the game, so I can do it. Anyway, so I've been playing that, and I've also just quickly I've played about half an hour of a game called Mainlining, and it is a weird game where you're playing as an MI7 agent, and you're trying to tackle. In the first instance, you're trying to tackle a group of hackers using this sort of special software that allows you to sort of hack into sites and download data. It's very sort of detective-y. You've got to find information and match all these things up, and you've got to know where to look for these things. It's very, very well designed, very interesting. Really looking forward to seeing where it's going. It's sort of thing. Do you know Orwell, the game?
I know it. I own it.
Yeah.
I've not played it.
Lemmy Smash bought it for me, actually, in the Steam sale. It was very nice of him.
I think I got it in Humble.
Yeah, it's been in quite a few things. But yeah, think that kind of thing, and it's like, sort of, The interface is very Windows XP, specifically Windows XP in its style. It's really quite fun. I'm really liking the sort of style, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going.
Cool.
So yes, that's what we've been playing this week, and let's move on to the first story of the show. We'll try and keep this nice and sharp today, because I know someone wants to go off to stream at some point.
I'm getting looks, that's all.
Okay.
She's pointing at the PlayStation, holding up her controller. She
Please.
wants to cook.
Please, we need to cook.
We need to feed the masses.
Yeah. Right, let's crack on then with the first story. EA, pillars of the community. Brilliant, brilliant developers that love the consumer and value them immensely, not just for their wallets. Wait, I think I'm talking about something else. Anyway, yeah, EA are a bit shit, aren't they? Let's be blunt.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, little bit. Yeah, I mean, this is the company that brought the whole loot box economy to its knees effectively because of their rather egregious usage of it in Star Wars Battlefront 2. But on that note, in a sort of in an internal thing that EA are now doing, it seems, on the surface at least, that they're trying to be better. Trying to be a better company for the consumer. Let's see how well that holds up. So to go into specifics here, EA's, it was, where am I looking? EA's Executive Vice President of Strategic Growth, Matt Bilby.
What
Imagine
a job
having
title.
that. Yeah, I know. Imagine having such a dull job title in a games company.
It sounds so pretentious, though.
It's so depressing. It's like, what do you do? Oh, I work for a games company. Oh, that sounds cool. What do you do? I'm an executive vice president of strategic growth.
Just imagine gamers just looking at you and going, what?
Just imagine, everyone just going, oh, that's nice, and then turning around to talk to someone else more interesting. Anyway, in an interview this guy did with GamesIndustry.biz, they're a gaming news website, but they're more they're focused more on the stuff that's specifically within the industry itself, as opposed to the products of the industry. It was an interview basically started out about how streaming for games with programs such as PlayStation Now and the rumoured Xbox Scarlet project will, whether or not it'll happen. TLDR, he says it will, it's just a matter of when. But this interview moved on a little bit afterwards, towards the end of it, into a little thing about loot boxes. Now, we know that they don't have the best... they didn't have the best PR relationship with loot boxes, do they, EA? That's putting it mildly. But, to try and tackle this, it seems, they do seem to have some sort of strategy for this. It's appropriate for the strategic growth department, I suppose. So this guy in the interview, when asked about loot boxes and things like FIFA Ultimate Team Packs and loads of other different things like that, because of the Belgian Gaming Commission, for instance, finding those kinds of things, including in FIFA, to be in breach of their laws. They were asked if EA sees a threat to that aspect of business, and Bilby replied, I believe what we're working through with those specific groups at the moment is an education, in reference to the regulatory agencies. Not meant in a patronising way, just but but just helping them understand how we design the games and the notion of choice and our commitment to making the games fair and fun. So, what he's saying is it's not that EA are trying, in this specific instance, not that EA are trying to learn where the line is between gambling and just, a fun loot box. But they're trying to tell the Belgian government where the line is. Wonder how well that's going to work out. But anyway, he did go on to say that they've learned a lot from the Star Wars Battlefront controversy. And, so, they say they've learnt a lot. I don't know about that.
The proof will be in the pudding.
It will be, but on that actual front, Mr. Bilby went on to say he ran a team internally with Patrick Soderlund, who is higher up in EA. He's their chief designer. Post Battlefront to actually redesign our game development framework and testing platforms to ensure we're giving our game teams the right guidance. We'll call it an EA moral compass. I don't know why I nearly said compass. I'm not a fucking idiot. At the beginning of development, so that we're designing our live services early testing with gamers who are giving us feedback, so we ensure those pillars of fairness, value, and fun are true. So, what I want to ask you, Sarah, do you believe a word of that?
No. Because the instant somebody says, not meant in a patronising way, it makes me go, no, noping out of this. That's like someone saying, I'm not being
racist, but...
Yeah, or no offence, but it's like, no, you're full of yourself.
I don't mean this in a sexist way.
I don't mean to be a lying dick, but it's like, no, I don't believe it. They have to say this. Every single person at EA, whenever they do an interview, is always going to be asked about the fabled loot box question. And they're always going to have to respond with some flouncy, no, we've seen the error of our ways. We won't do it again.
Which they've done with every controversy they've ever had. Is just,
exactly.
We'll do better. We're learning our lesson, honest. And then they just do the same shit again.
If they've learned any lessons, it will literally be, don't do it again on a Star Wars game. Because people will notice on a Star Wars game.
If this hadn't been Star Wars, and if Warner Brothers hadn't done it on a Lord of the Rings game, they might have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, it's just that they chose the IPs with massively rabid fan bases. But yeah, I want to believe them. I want to believe that they are having this moral compass, and like the way they're saying it, they're designing it early, they're testing it with gamers who are giving feedback to ensure the pillars of fairness, value, and fun are true. The problem is, a lot of the time, the people who they test these games with are 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, to actually get a good look at the gaming market, that's not the demographic you need to be looking at.
No.
Because a 14-year-old would probably just like any functional game you put in front of them, to be honest.
Most likely.
I mean, when I was 14, if I look back at my 14-year-old self now, I would say he's a fucking idiot. Although, I would still say that about me now, but that's a different situation entirely.
Let's see. I was obsessed with Kingdom Hearts when I was 14. There you go.
Oh, that's alright, isn't it?
Yeah, but like obsessed, like crazed fangirl level, you know?
Oh, right.
It's a bit cringy when I think about it now. I'm like, it's a good game series. Well, it used to be.
That good.
But it's not like I live and breathe it.
Yeah. To be fair, there's a guy who works in one of the Tesco's that one of my shops is in, and he's pretty invested in Kingdom Hearts, and he's taken, like, he's booked holiday deliberately at the week of Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out.
I did that. I booked the day off when just a day.
He booked the week off.
Yeah, but that's with the 3DS. No, the DS game, which was really short. I booked a day off work, so it would run into the weekend. And I made my dad drive me to Asda at midnight so I could go and get it.
Oh, I'm sure he loved that.
Yep.
I'm sure he was
thrilled.
Thrilled. Oh, yeah. To be fair, I was made to go to Asda last night because the guinea pig's water bottle wasn't working properly.
Oh, no.
Well, it didn't have one, so we just literally... We had a tiny hamster one.
Bowl?
Yeah, we had a tiny hamster one and a little bowl of water, and just put that in the cage, and then I got a nice one this morning. Yeah, we wondered why they hadn't been really invested in their food in the last couple of days, and that would explain it.
We wondered why they were passed out and heavy breathing from all the heat.
No, they managed. They're still fine, but it was just like, they're not eating a lot of that concentrate food. Oh, that's because the water bottle it was clogged up with lime scale, and I was just like, oh. Well, that explains it. Yeah, they're fine. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with EA.
No.
But, yeah, at least I'm more honest than EA, because I admitted that. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I want to believe them. I really do. I want to believe that they've learned and that they're going to try and make these things more fair and design them from the beginning to be more fair.
Mm.
But what do they mean by more fair? It's like, where's this line going to be? Because it's still going to be microtransactions.
Mm.
But is it going to be microtransactions that affect gameplay? Is that a line that they're going to stop at? Are they going to stop at just cosmetic loot boxes? Or are they going to stop at just simple buy it and you have it microtransaction cosmetics? Like,
or are they going to do that thing where they just kind of slowly up the
worse
bar again until
like
they accidentally
did, yeah.
cross it again?
Like the whole industry just keeps fucking doing. They keep going, ooh, let's just see. Ooh, could we maybe get
push it a little bit further?
Yeah, just push a couple of little cosmetic microtransactions to the single player. No one will notice that. Fucking bullshit stuff. Yeah, it's yeah. So, let's wrap this story up. EA then are claiming that they're going to try and be better. But we've heard this spiel before, and it's not really happened, has it? So, no. Take what they're saying with a pinch of salt there. Because, at the very least, we can hold them to it in a couple of years when they try this bullshit again.
Yeah.
And with that,
I remain skeptical on this one.
That is the correct attitude. And on that depressing note, let's move on to the next story. Do you like old games? Well, fuck you, bucko.
Wow.
Well, that's basically what Nintendo are saying. So, to provide context then, there's a couple of, well, there's quite a lot of websites on the internet where you can download emulators and ROMs of very old games. I mean, there are some ROM sites that go up to very recent games, but a lot of people, in my experience anyway, download just the sort of ROMs of really old games that aren't really available anymore. They're very tricky to track down, or they are not sold anywhere particularly anymore. That's how I'd use ROMs personally.
Mm.
But Nintendo have always been very against this practice. Like, basically forever, they've been against this. They've made it very clear their opinions on it. And Nintendo decided a few months ago decided to take that step a little bit further by actually threatening a few of these sites that you can download ROMs from with legal action. Actually sending emails to them going, we're going to file legal action against you if you don't stop this, etc., etc. And at least one of these sites now, called Emu Paradise, which actually looks like Emu Paradise. If you're going there looking for emus, you found the wrong site, I'm afraid. It's very much like Pen Island. So, Emu Paradise, I keep looking at it, I keep seeing emus. Just can't disassociate that at all. Emu Paradise is the self-proclaimed biggest retro gaming website on Earth, and up until yesterday, as we're recording, provided a rather extensive library of retro gaming ROMs from loads of different platforms, including Nintendo games, Sony games, Sega games, etc. Now, however, you cannot download any of the ROMs from that website. In their statement, they basically went through a load of sort of positive experiences with their website over the last, apparently, 18 years of their existence. So that means I was only 5 when the site started up. Wow. So it's been running for quite a while, and basically they said that their site is having to change because of the situation regarding emulation sites, which, is the legal action. So they are fearing Nintendo's threat for legal action. They believe that it's real, and they've decided to shut down the ROM part of their website because of it. So, with that in mind, this is a shit thing. I don't like this at all. I mean, I would mind it less if Nintendo actually intended to sell us those games. Like, if they had a section on the Switch store which had, almost their entire back catalogue for a pound or two each. And you could just go, hey, I want that game. I want that game. And you could just download all of these old NES, Nintendo 64 and SNES games, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then great. I would be fine with it. Well, I would be less annoyed with them taking out these ROM sites or threatening to take them out. But as it stands, a lot of the games on these sites aren't available to buy anywhere. Certainly not new. So what does the developer what does Nintendo specifically have to gain from stopping ROMs of them being available?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, all they're doing is saying no to any sort of digital preservation. And it's becoming an increasingly important thing, at least to me, that we do preserve a lot of these games. Because, we had a period in history where, 100 years ago, where so little of our history was preserved because we didn't have the technology to do it. And now, a lot more in the last 100 years is being preserved of history, but while that's happening, the same isn't happening for digital stuff, which is a very strange thing to me, because it seems even easier to sort of preserve the things on the internet, things that are online, than it is to preserve physical things, which we're somehow managing to do better. That was such a roundabout way of making that point. But you know what I mean? Digital preservation is really important, and they're just so many people are either turning a blind eye for it or just blatantly giving it a kick in the face and going, no.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Do you think there's a purpose for it? Like, what did Nintendo gain from this at all, if anything?
The only thing I can draw from it is it's very interesting that this is happening right on top of when their new online service thing is coming on board, where they're apparently going to then dictate games that you can play for the month or whatever.
I don't know how they're doing that. It's not really clear, is it?
No, and I don't like it. Like, that part of their online service, I don't appreciate at all. I don't know why they've chosen to do that, because no one else does that. Like, PSN, for example, give you free games, but you get to keep that game as long as you're subscribed. So, you know, it's not like at the end of the month, that's it, that game goes from your library, and you can't play it anymore for free. That doesn't happen. And I don't know why Nintendo want to do that, because it sounds stupid. That's the only reason I can think of that they would want to do something like this, other than the fact that they're very, 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 very anal about their games and other people doing anything with them that's not their say-so. Maybe they'll come out with their own ROM service or a website suddenly.
Well, I mean,
Who
technically...
knows? And charge you for it, probably.
The thing is, that's basically what the NES Mini was, because if I remember rightly, there was a story when that first came out that at least one of the games on there, someone cracked into it and had a look, was probably downloaded from a ROM site, because there was particular code in there that one of the people who make these ROMs left behind.
Yes. And,
do you think there's an element of that, though? Like, they're trying, because they're still trying to cash in on the mini NES, mini SNES, do you think that that's factored into it in any way?
Maybe. I mean, the thing that I noticed is that on a lot of ROM sites, not that I'm too adversed in it, on a number of ROM sites, they don't tend to have the ROMs for, like, the real staple Nintendo games that everybody knows, like the Mario Brothers and the Zeldas. They're a lot harder to come by anyway. The thing that bothers me is the mini SNES.
Because they're fucking everywhere anyway.
Exactly. And the mini SNES has 20 games on it. And I think in my own SNES library, I own 3 of those games. The rest of the games that I own are not on the mini SNES. So to me, and some of those games are great. And I'm like, if my SNES packs up, there goes my window of being able to play those games unless I can find another one that works. Yeah. But if I could download a ROM of it, which I already have,
it's
I
fine.
can play
That's
them
technically
on
legal
PC.
because you own the game.
Exactly. I already spent money on the game, so, you know. Yeah. But like you said, I would gladly pay, like, £1 or £2 for a ROM if I had to. Because, you know, why not? You pay that much for a modern game on Steam that's probably not as good. I see no qualm in that happening, but to get rid of them completely is just wrong on so many levels.
Yeah. I really, like, I don't get the way that these people, like, the way that Nintendo thinks about this at all. They just seem blind to the fact that a lot of these games are good and can't be played anywhere because people don't own a SNES anymore. Yeah.
Or never did.
Yeah, exactly. I'm too young for a SNES. That stopped being made after, like, before I was born. So
exactly.
Or certainly not long after I was born, anyway.
And I never owned a NES, so I didn't get to play some of the old NES games, which is why I was so excited to finally get a mini. Because then I was like, at least I can play some of the core ones. They're very hard.
Yeah. Do you remember that statement I just made? I'm going to take that back because it was discontinued. The SNES was discontinued in 1999 in North America and 2003 in Japan.
Yeah, I
fuck?
can believe that.
2003.
They loved it in Japan.
They did, but like, what about the N64? Like that'd come out. That's really strange to me that it went on for that long. Like, when did the N64 go out of production? The N64 discontinued 2002.
So the N64 discontinued before the SNES?
In Japan, yeah.
Famicom, isn't it, for them?
Super Famicom in Japan, yeah.
Yeah.
That's absurd to me that it went on for
crazy.
that long. Yeah. They were
Wow.
still making SNESes and releasing them commercially in Japan when the GameCube was released.
Shows how much they loved it, doesn't it?
It really does. Wow, that's insane. Also, I found one on Facebook Marketplace and it is fucking hideous. It's
What,
so
Famicom?
bad. No, the SNES. It's just so badly weathered and terrible. It's like,
yeah, mine's yellow tinged.
yeah, but this is like yellow. They've just left it in the sun for 15 years or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Probably.
Ooh. £40 for one that's in rather good nick apart from a scratch on the top with SimCity the game.
See, that's the fun part, if you do want to go back to SNES and NES, is getting a console that's working isn't too horrendous.
It's not
getting
actually for
games
SNESes,
that's difficult.
The games are the expensive bits, yeah.
Because if you want the classic ones that were a bit rarer, those are a bastard to find for a reasonable price.
Yeah. Some guy's just selling a load of various video game items. Like, this is either a clear out from a store that this guy no longer owns. There's also some Lego in this listing for no reason. Or the guy's stolen it all. Like, what the fuck? That just looks so fishy. Anyway, I'm going to stop looking at Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, I think... Anyway, back to the ROMs. Digital preservation is a very important thing, and in the case of video games, having ROMs of things is a very good idea, especially because a lot of these games, when they came out, they were on a cartridge, they weren't made in unlimited numbers, and nowadays they're quite difficult to get hold of. And also, you have games that are coming out now that, you know, in 5-10 years when a storefront shuts down or when a server shuts down, they're not going to be available anymore. So, you know, the games industry hates its own history, but gamers themselves, like, want and need to experience how this medium has evolved over the course of the last 30-40 years. I think that's a very important thing to do. And unfortunately, companies like Nintendo are very keen for that to not happen for reasons unknown.
Yeah.
Anyway, unfortunately, this newscast isn't going to get any more jovial as we move on to the final story of the show. IGN! Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. IGN have been caught plagiarising a review. A review of Dead Cells, a game that is very good and I am apparently going to be reviewing. A video and text review for Dead Cells came up on the IGN website very recently. Made by their Nintendo editor. I believe it was a review of the Switch port of the game. And this review had many, many similarities to a video review by a YouTuber whose channel goes by the name of Boomstick Gaming. And Boomstick Gaming actually ended up watching IGN's review and noticed these similarities. And they are more than could be considered remotely coincidental. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I've heard some of the comparisons. Have you looked into it or seen any of it?
I watched a video that Boomstick Gaming put on his channel where he compared bits of the review between his and IGN's.
Yeah, it's a little similar, isn't it? A bit too similar.
Having done reviews for a while now, like when IGN released their statement and they did the whole, well, you know, when you have a game like this, people will have similar views. It's like, yeah, that's fine. It's not
that happens,
your views that will be the problem.
Yeah,
it's the format.
Exactly.
That's
you
weird.
Get in these kinds of reviews, you will get a few people reiterating the same points, like by and large, because they're things worth talking about, or they're things that people share an opinion on. Like, for instance, like Dead Cells mechanics being really satisfying, etc. You're gonna get the odd bit of coincidental bit of a review that sounds the same. But for instance, like in the guy's breakdown of the two reviews, you can skip to any point in both reviews. Well, you can't now because the IGN one's been taken down, but you could skip to any point between the two, and it is the same, but with a few words changed. It's like when you were at school and you took an article from Wikipedia for your homework and just changed it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who does that? I would never do such a thing.
That's despicable.
Oh, what kind of awful person would do that? But yeah. So it's quite clearly plagiarized by I found the name Philip. Oh God, I'm not going to try and pronounce the name. Miucin. Musin?
Miucin. Yeah, Musin.
Yeah, Philip Musin. He was their Nintendo editor, and he had been for about 6 months, apparently. And now he has been fired by IGN. Well, I say unfortunately. That is definitely the best course of action that IGN could have taken in this instance. They have also basically owned up to this and gone, this shouldn't have slipped through the cracks. We apologise to Boomstick Gaming, and there are actually talks about donating the ad revenue from the video review and I believe the review that went up on the website, the text review, to this YouTuber, which is that's the best thing they could have done PR-wise in this situation. Like to that just adds a nice cherry on the top of it to go, hey, look, we're sorry, we've made money off this, but we're gonna give it to you because it is this guy's review at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, he spent his time writing this review, and I think at the end of the day, he deserves money for it. I mean, personally, if it were me at the IGN thing, I might actually consider hiring the guy, like the original guy. Okay, hey, do you want to work for us and do video reviews instead? 'Cause, you know, that's what I'd do, actually. That'd be a really good bit of PR to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the same time, what they've done is a perfectly good bit of PR. They've done exactly what they should have done. And
and they did it quickly too.
They did within basically a day or two of this being discovered. And in other positive news as well, the guy Boomstick Gaming has had his subscriber numbers jump dramatically since this has come out. So it's ended up being a blessing in disguise, and I'm very happy for the guy. That's really good. Also, just on that front, actually, on plagiarism, we had a comment on one of our videos. We have Gaming Pastime post videos on both our channel and their own channel. It's the same review, but it goes up on both channels. And we had a comment saying, "Did you just rip off Gaming Pastime on one of our videos?"
Really?
Yeah, but we had because it's not overly clear, except for the fact at the start of the video he does go, in our cut goes, "Welcome to another GameCast Rewind."
Yeah.
But still, like, I can understand how people got confused. I saw the comment, I was like, "Shit, explain. We're not actually copying. We're just
We own him.
we're not copying.
He's one of us.
He posts on us as well. It's fine. So yeah,
He is gaming pastime.
yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
So
bless.
yeah, that could have gone wrong. But yeah, anyway.
It's quite cool that someone picked up on that, though.
Yeah,
that must have been nice.
It's
been like,
one of the first times I've seen that. Yeah, like cross viewership. But yes, I'm really happy for Boomstick Gaming, for his jump in subscribers.
Definitely.
So yeah,
that's really cool.
Apparently, he's been making videos since 2006.
Wow.
Jesus, and he's only just started getting a proper following. But well, probably in part because of this. But I think he was still doing pretty well subscriber-wise beforehand. But now he's doing even better.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Good job.
Good for him. And IGN have actually released a full statement about this, saying that they're reviewing the allegations against one of our writers. After taking time to investigate, we determined there was substantial similarities between a review posted weeks earlier and our review that could not be justified and warranting taking down. Though we as a community often share feelings and even certain word choices to describe the games we love by using similar frames of understanding, this particular situation stepped over the line as not a reflection of our editorial standards. We apologise to the readers, the developer, and especially the YouTuber. We take our review process seriously. In most cases, reviewers are expected to play the game's single-player or story campaign to completion at least once, as well as spend additional time capturing gameplay to supply content to the video component of our reviews. Though our Dead Cells reviewer did play the game and came away with glowing opinions of it, as did many of our other staff members, the review itself was simply not acceptable. We've parted ways with the writer involved in the review and we'll be re-reviewing Dead Cells this week. We will work tirelessly to ensure that regardless of whether you agree with our reviews, you can have faith that every word is nothing less than the genuine opinions of our critic. Nothing is more important to us than your trust. Good grief. That was a lot to read out, but yeah. What I find interesting about that, though, is the fact that the guy actually played the game, but couldn't be bothered to come up with his own opinion or review.
Do we think that he wasn't very good with his time management, perhaps?
I just ran out of time. And
being how on the ball IGN usually are with their reviews, they're pretty fast. So it was probably, Dead Cells is out, you need to get the review out now.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, but at the same time,
an air of lazy?
I don't know, but the amount of the amount of sort of changing the odd word and slight structure of a sentence, the amount of work that would have gone into that can't have been much less than actually having just written your own article.
That's something I've always found strange when people do plagiarize things, is when they do go through the effort of actually changing it slightly. It's like, why? Why didn't you just write it instead? It would have been less stressful to be like, ooh, if I switch this and move this around, it's like,
then people won't notice. Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you just write it and then you go, just hand that off to an editor, go, can you just change that around, make that a bit better? There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or at the end of the day, if, as you say, if you're correct and he couldn't handle the responsibility or the time management, he could have just handed it off to someone else, because by the sounds of it, a lot of people have been playing it in the IGN office.
Yeah.
So
or, ask for some feedback from other people and then
or some help writing it, even. Split it up and then share the credit.
Group together the review. Get some quotes from other people in the team.
I think the shocking thing is, though, I think the shocking thing at the end of the day is the fact that this came from an editor. It was their senior Nintendo editor, and not just some newbie that didn't quite know what they were doing. Like,
Yeah.
if this kind of thing were going to come from anywhere, I would have expected it to be sort of lower in the ranks than it is. But the fact it's from an editor is a bit annoying. Yeah. Still, IGN made the correct decision. The guy has been fired, and unfortunately for him, he's not going to get a job in this industry again. It's not going to happen at this point, because like he'll have to explain to the next person he attempts to get a job with. So why were you fired from your last job as a reviewer? And it says he worked for IGN for a bit. What happened there? Oh, I plagiarized a review. Oh. Well, we'll call you and see how well we'll get along with that. We've got plenty of other people to see, but we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not ideal, is it really?
No.
No. Anyway. Final thoughts then on this particular story then, Sarah?
Don't plagiarize. And if you are, do it better. No, don't do it better.
No, just don't do it.
Do it like I do. No, don't. No, just when you're in a channel that's in a big limelight like IGN is. IGN's got a lot of followers. You know,
you can't afford to
really
do it.
Need to do it properly, because you've got a lot of people watching you, and if somebody does figure it out, then that puts IGN in a poor light, and as you've seen, you'll get fired instantly because they can't afford that publicity. That will ruin their thing, and there are so many people out there who would love an opportunity as well to do that job. Like, imagine how pissed off they would be as well. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, the guy's only been working there for 6 months, so you can imagine they had interviews with a few other people around 6 months ago. I bet the people who didn't get that job are rather annoyed.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, IGN have done the right thing, though, and they did it very quickly, which was amazing. I was very impressed with how fast they were. So, yeah, just learn from, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard to have your own opinion on a game.
No, don't do it, and especially don't do it if you work for a company that's in such a large amount of the limelight.
Especially if it's your actual job as well. If you get paid for it, you need to be responsible.
Exactly. Right. There we go. I think you've summed that up pretty well. And on that note, let's come to the end of the show. That brings us to the end of another episode of the GameCast NewsCast, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, or share whatever you fancy to this channel. And our social links are all down in the description with a link to the Discord, where you can join in some chat with our growing community. And you can try and get us to 250 subs. Please, we're nearly there.
Woo!
Exactly.
So cool.
So thank you very much, Sarah, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right. So, have you got anything coming up on the channel apart from your Overcooked 2 review? Have you got any plans for anything? Or on your own channel?
I do have plans. I'm not actually going to talk about the plans. Ha ha ha! I'm just going to say that I do have a potential new show in the works. It is in the very, 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 very early stages right now. But I hope to do some work on it in the coming weeks, and we might see a potential episode for it at the end of August, beginning of September, hopefully.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I think I know the rough idea for this show, unless it's a completely new one that I know nothing about.
It's kind of transformed slightly from what I told you, but it's similar.
Ooh. Well, keep an eye out for that then, and keep an eye out for Sarah's Overcooked 2 review, and you can check out her Twitch channel as well, where she'll be doing streams of that and loads of other things, I should imagine. And yes, I don't do anything on any other channel now. I just do stuff on this channel because it's easier. So, I do a load of shit. I do so much shit on this channel. And
really do.
so much shit. Awful content. I'm joking. Well, I hope I'm joking. Is it good? Help, I don't know.
No.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
We love you, Snowy.
Yes, I'm certainly the most prolific outputter on this channel, that's for sure. If nothing else, I'm prolific. So I do the newscast. I do one episode of the news per week, as does Sarah, and I also do Creative Corner on Sundays, which is a show where I set myself a challenge in a creative style game, like City Skylines or Planet Coaster type thing. And I've also started a Fly on the Wall Sims documentary series. It's going to run for 10 episodes, and I really enjoyed the first episode. I really enjoyed making it and editing it, and I'm really pleased with the reaction so far.
The all-important question, though, are you going to allow any of them to die before the end of the 10 episodes?
Well, it's not so much allow, it's whether they do or not. You know, I'm not interfering.
But I mean, if they... Yeah, that's what I meant. You're not interfering, are you? So if...
No, if they die,
one of them goes to
die.
Amazing. We should take a poll who we think is going to die.
I'll tell you what, I'll set that up in the cards for the next Sims video. The poll of who I think is going to die first.
Yay!
Anyway, so look forward to all
that
that stuff.
I'm so happy about that.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Yay! One of them's going to die. Anyway,
no, Gamecast Graveyard.
That's good. Yeah, so the first series is Gamecast House of Fun. That's the name of the second series. Welcome to the Gamecast Graveyard. Everyone's still dead. Goodbye.
Wow.
Anyway, look forward to that, and I hope you enjoyed this show. Look forward to this. Won't be next week because I will be away, but it will be back the week after next. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you soon for something else. Goodbye!
Goodbye!